Hello, I'm Sean Lean. I'm the President of the Legislative Council in the Victorian Parliament, and I'm here to give an update on this week's parliamentary sitting. Legislative Council debated 4 pieces of legislation this week. One of the pieces of legislation was debated was the Superannuation Legislation Amendment Bill 2025, which seeks to amend the definition of salary and superable income. It makes further provision to the contributions to allow changes for more than once a year, and it alters the size and membership of the Emergency Services Superannuation Board. Another piece of legislation that was debated and passed in the Parliament this week was the Financial Management Legislation Amendment Bill, and this amends the Financial Management Act 1994 to improve its operation and seeks to remove requirements relating to warrants to issue public money from that Act, from the Constitution Act 1975. Another piece of legislation that was debated was the Crimes Performance Crime Bill, which amends the Crimes Act to provide a new offence in relation to the publication of material about the commission of certain offences and other purposes. Another piece of legislation that was debated in the Parliament this week in the Legislative Council was the Local Jobs First Amendment Bill, which seeks to amend the Local Jobs Act to provide for additional obligations, penalties and enforcement powers related to Local Jobs First and for other purposes. Other debates, not legislation, but motions that were debated in the House were things around energy costs, property values, delivery of health services, a review on the self-defence laws, and there was another debate that was pertaining to a petition around honorary justice services support. A lot of activity outside the chambers, as there always is, and I'd like to mention a couple of those events. National Science Week in Queen's Hall. As part of National Science Week, Parliament's education team showcased a new resource called Victoria 2050. And this resource combines civics and science, asking students to consider future priorities for Victoria using parliamentary process and designs in the classrooms. And this particular program is going to be available in the Parliament's website later this year, and I was lucky enough to have a preview of it, and it's going to be a fantastic resource for all of our schools. I just want to mention one other event in the Parliament. MPs had the opportunity to congratulate the Melbourne Vixens on winning the Super Netball Championships. And a number of players and staff from the Vixens came to Parliament to show off the trophy, and there was a lot of people queuing up to get a photo with that trophy, so we really appreciate the Melbourne Vixens and congratulate them on their great victory. Next sitting week, and I'll give you an update of how these pieces of legislation travelled through the Parliament, if they're debated, is a Bail Further Amendment Bill, Domestic Building Contracts Amendment Bill, and Wage Theft Amendment Bill. So I'll give you an update on that after we sit in a couple of weeks' time.